There is a ton of talk right now about refinancing. So today I want to go over my refinancing rules for homeowners. The reason I wanted to do this video is I'm already seeing some very predatory behavior and I'm seeing people's equity get stripped. And you're like, what's that? So let's say you owe $200,000 on the house and it's worth $400,000. If you're working with a lender that is playing games or charging you high fees, your loan that you're refinancing to get a lower payment could go from 200,000 to 240,000. No joke, guys. You've got to look at the paperwork because we see this all the time. I'll be talking to someone and they'll be like, "Oh no, I'm getting this rate and there's no fees." And I'm like, "I don't think so. Send me your loan estimate." And they're like, "Oh, let me find it." They send it over and I'm like, "Hey, like your original loan's 200, the new one's 240 and you're not even getting cash out." And they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, here's the thing. There are lenders that will tell you over the phone, hey, yeah, no, there's no fees, there's no out of pockets, sign here. You're just getting this great rate and your payment's going to go down by $100. Is it worth it to spend $20, $30, $40,000 to reduce your payment by $100? No, that doesn't make sense at all. But they're counting on you not looking, okay? So rule number one, whenever you are refinancing, you are going to go through that loan estimate like a detective. And if you need help, you are going to give us a call, 786-933-2077. Call or text. My team is licensed in 50 states now. We'll look at it and we'll be like, yeah, like that's a good deal, or no, you're totally getting ripped, because I'm seeing way more of this right now. It's not just veterans, guys. It's veterans, it's FHA, it's conventional. And it's because the refinance lenders, these are lenders who just do refinances because no one will hire them to do a purchase. They're hungry and desperate. That is something to watch out for. You may be going, but Jen, how is this legal? It's buyer beware, right? So really, really be careful. Okay, that was your first rule. Your second rule is there's some basic parameters. So let's say that you don't need cash out and you're just trying to get a lower payment. A lot of times people go, well, Jen, does the rate need to be 2% lower, 1% lower, 0.5%? It depends on your loan amount. So what I'm usually looking for, if I'm looking to reach out to clients, if the loan is under $200,000, I really want to see that the rate's 1% or more lower and there's no lender fees, or it's very minimal, no points, okay? The second tier, let's say I'm doing 2 to 400,000, I'm going to want the rate to be going down at least 0.75, okay? Once again, low lender fees, no points. Very important. Next, that kind of 400 to $1 million range, at least 0.5%. I'm looking for 0.5% or lower. When you start getting over $1 million, that's where it's like, is it worth it for a quarter? Is it worth it for 0.375? Easily 2 million plus. Doing a refinance to reduce the rate a quarter makes a difference. But doing a refinance at $400,000 to reduce the rate a quarter does not make sense unless there's zero fees, okay? Meaning your loan estimate is zero for not what you're bringing in, but just for total cost. So really be aware of that, because that's what I'm seeing right now. Is I'm seeing that they're baiting people with lower rates, but these lower rates have a lot of fees. And when you do the math, it may take 5, 10, 15, 20 years for it to make sense of that refinance. And people go, but Jen, this is who I send my bill to. They're looking out for me. They're not, guys. They're call centers, and their whole business is they buy loans from other lenders and then they refinance them. That's how they make money. They get paid based on how many people they refinance. So important you know that. The stuff you get in the mail, throw it away. I'm telling you right now. We had a buyer recently, a homeowner, and they had worked with us and they got something in the mail that said, regarding guaranteed rate, call the loan service center. We can save you a ton of money right now. He calls, he says, hey, I want to talk to Jen. And they're like, oh, she's not in, but we'll take your application. Guys, it wasn't even my company. That's the thing, is everything you get in the mail, most of the time it is these bottom feeder loan companies where they're impersonating your lender and saying, call the loan service center. And then you've got to go to the minuscule print for it to say this is not affiliated with guaranteed rate. And you're like, well, how do they know? Public records show who you closed your loan with, okay? And if you're like, but it has a loan number, they're fake. They're fake, guys. They make up fake loan numbers because they know that you don't know your loan number. But if you see something that looks official, you're going to think it's your real lender that you trust, and then they can deceive you. Recently, the one I'm referencing, it was a veteran, and he had a really low rate. Refinancing did not make sense. You know, we talked to him after this and we're like, no, don't do this. Please don't. His rate was under 3%. But they were telling him, oh yeah, we're going to get you a little cash back, and you know, your rate's going to be higher, but you're going to get some money. 7.5%, I'm sorry, I yelled, 7.5% and $14,000 in lender fees. They should go to jail. Alyssa on my team literally sent me the loan estimate. She goes, Jen, how do I get this person in jail? This is outrageous. And I'm like, yeah, it is. And this is happening every day in America, okay? Anything in the mail, tear it up. Like, I'm telling you right now, nothing good. There's no real offers. Nothing in the mail is legit and hasn't been my entire career, okay? They make it look really good. That's their job. So we're going to throw away stuff in the mail. The people who service your loan right now, I would ignore them as well. If you liked the loan officer you originally worked with, call them. If you didn't, call us. Because here's the thing. You need to be working with a lender that does enough purchase business that they can tell you not to refinance. Because here's the thing, think about it this way. So I close between 40 and 100 loans a month. I know that's a big variation, but that's the way the market works. So that's purchases. That's people buying houses, right? I'm not going to starve if I tell you not to refinance, right? My team is not going to fall on hard times. But there's a lot of loan officers right now where they're closing 1 or 2 loans a month. So they're going to try to talk you into these refinances the best they can. Here's the pitch that I hear the most that makes me want to scream. And I want you guys to watch out for this one. It's the cash out pitch. And usually what they'll see is they'll see that you have some level of debt. And they'll be like, hey, look, your rate's going to go up a bit, but we can take your cash out. We're going to pay off this debt. And it's going to make it so your overall monthly, instead of this, is this, okay? Of course the overall monthly is going down. You're taking a debt that would have been like a 5-year debt and you're stretching it out over 30 years. The only time this ever makes sense is if you have no other avenues. And I say that because the other thing that happens is unless you're ready to make radical financial change in your life, right? If you use your house as equity to pay off $50,000 in debt, but you don't have a game plan, you're just going to get back in debt. We see it all the time. When I was younger, I was that person, right? You know, we learn from our mistakes, which is why I'm telling you guys, you know, really watch out for this. And they also use the desperation of that crushing credit card debt to inflate their fees. So if you're in a pickle, just please get a second opinion to make sure that, okay, if your rate's going up, it's not going up to the moon and the lender isn't taking you for a rocket ride, right? Is that intentional statement? Yes. Yeah. So we had another client recently, really smart guy, and this lender, it's a big national lender, and I may have just referenced them. And the lender gave him a loan estimate. And he's like, wait a second, you said there was no lender fees, there's no points. I told you I didn't want points. This has $14,000 in lender fees and points. And the loan officer said to him, oh, this is just preliminary. Don't worry about that. I'm like, send it over. So I look at it. I'm like, it's locked. Here's the thing. If a loan estimate is locked, that is not preliminary. If you end up closing that loan and you're like, well, I told him no points, they can go to court and say, look, he was given a locked loan estimate that showed these points, blah, 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 blah. They were just straight up lying to him. And here's the worst part. You're like, oh, all those points, I bet he was getting a great rate. No, guys, that's what we're seeing right now. So this was a VA loan. They were giving him 6.25%. We locked him at 6.125, no points, no lender fees. So higher rate and $14,000 in fees. That is what I'm seeing. So it's like when I was thinking about the homeowner update for March, I was like, I do not want you guys getting ripped off. And there are so many predators out there right now and smooth talking salespeople that you want to make sure if you're looking at this, you're working with a lender that's doing the math. If anyone says to you, hey, do you want to skip 2 payments? You're not skipping 2 payments. We are increasing your loan amount to cover the interest for those 2 months you're not making payments, okay? No out of pocket. They're increasing your loan to cover the fees, okay? Well, there's no fees. Are there? Like, tell me about that, because it's like, for example, on VA, I have no lender fee. But when there's a refinance, title's still involved, escrow's still involved, or attorney, depending on the state, there can be transfer taxes or intangible taxes. I have to set up a new escrow account. I'm going to be increasing your loan if you're not bringing in money. So as a consumer, as a homeowner who's trying to protect your equity, right? That's why we buy houses. We buy houses so we can live there, have a great life, pay down the loan, build equity, and then when we retire, if we need it, we've got our equity. So you want to protect it. So watch out for stuff like them saying, hey, you want a pool? Oh yeah, I do. No, you weren't thinking about a pool before they sent that to you. Protect your equity, right? Hey, I can lower your rate 1%. How much is it going to cost me? Show it to me, right? Really treat people with suspicion. And I know that sounds terrible, but honestly, truly, based on what I'm seeing, treat people with suspicion. I'm fine if you do that with my team, right? You can be like, I want to see it. And they'll be like, Jen, they're mean. I'll be like, no, I told them to say that to you. Enjoy it, kids. But look, you need to check everything. You need to make sure what the lender says is real in writing. You need to watch out for the people in your mailbox and throw it away. The people who are doing your loan, who collecting your loan payment every single month, they're not just reaching out of the kindness of their heart. They're making money, so really, really be aware. Questions, comments, if you want to see if refinancing makes sense, or if you want to get on our rate alert program. Rate alert is when you tell us, hey, this is the rate I'm looking for with no points. And when we hit that rate, we call you. 786-933-2077. I hope this video was helpful. I know it was a little rambly, but this is just something I'm seeing so much of right now. And I really want you guys to not get ripped off and to keep your equity. But look, if there's an opportunity to save money, let's save it. Thanks for watching.